All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Life Between the Six with Cody Cropper, your host, Brandon. We are back with MLS Week 12 recap, and Cody, another guest, another former teammate.
Yes, another former teammate in DeJuan Jones, obviously a very good outside back. I guess wasn't drafted as an outside back, but welcome to the podcast. We're very happy to have you on.
Thanks, Cody. Thanks, Brandon. I saw your podcast last week. I'm really excited to be here.
All right. Picking up some traction. Love to see it, Cody. Good stuff. DeJuan, you're at New England Revolution where you were drafted, as Cody said. Was it back in 2018?
2019.
2019 from the University of Michigan State, right? The Spartans out there playing some Big Ten soccer. I was reading the little interview you did, I think it was MLSplayers.org or something like that. And you're talking how, my man, you're a bit of a beast at the combine, weren't you?
Yeah, I had a really good combine. The first day was testing, and I think I had the all-time record for like the 40, or was it 30?
It's a 30.
The 30 meter, 30-yard dash, and then also for the agility, like the 5-10-5, and then I placed third in like the vertical jump. So testing went really well, and then that first game, I scored like the first goal of the whole combine. Nice run, nice chip to the back post. So, I was feeling really good. Started getting called in for a lot of interviews.
I mean, no better start than that, Cody. Can you imagine that?
No. I honestly, I've known DeJuan for years, obviously played with him for a year or two, and I did not know any of that information. So having played with him, like I said, a lot of that makes sense. However, I don't think a lot of us who were already in the league at that time would have known any of that information. But that's really cool to hear. And obviously one of the reasons that you were drafted so high.
Yeah, that's actually how I got my New Balance deal as well. The New Balance guy was watching the combine, and after I scored that goal, he was like, "Wow, that reminded me of Sadio Mane." And then
what a name drop!
Yeah,
Hey, one of our other ambassadors. What do you think about him?
Yeah,
he like FaceTime Sadio real quick, right?
There you go.
Yeah, I get home from the combine, and I have like 6 boxes of New Balance stuff, and I'm just like, wow, I guess these guys really want me.
It's a different world.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I have to make a smart decision here. I didn't know too much about New Balance, as it's not that big from Michigan. It's way bigger on the East Coast, but yeah, it's been great.
Nice. Because I know a lot of the guys will come out of the draft for Generation Adidas deals and things like that. So they're out there looking to poach and get their name out there. So good for them. I think they did well. And you obviously been with them, 4 years now?
Yeah, since 2019.
Awesome.
I signed my New Balance deal before I signed my MLS deal. So that was pretty funny.
Well, officially closed the door on college at that point. Hey, you're a real pro now.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Cody, how was it signing your big deal with Nike? Or Nike is the Brits call it.
Nike is the Brits call it. Honestly, it was an incredible feeling as, a young a young athlete, young soccer player growing up. All you ever see is these guys, the professionals, the guys that you are aspiring to be, wearing brands like Adidas, Nike, Puma, for DeJuan, Under Armour. And that feeling of getting that initial offer and going, wow, like this is amazing. And then seeing all the free product that you get and it's just an amazing feeling. And obviously it comes with a lot of hard work, as I'm sure DeJuan can attest to. However, it is something that is very surface level, and at the end of the day is a great addition. However, you're in a position to, play soccer and not really, you're not really worried about the brand deal until it comes.
Sure.
You kind of mentioned that. Do you guys think the U.S. men's national team will ever leave Nike? and go with Adidas? Because as far as I've been around and paid attention to the national team, they've always been with Nike. That'd be a wild time if they switch, because it happens, right? Brands go to different ones, whether it's Adidas, Puma, New Balance, whomever, kind of a thing. That would be wild. I've only known Nike in the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 30 years old. I got called into my first U.S. camp when I was 16, and it was Nike. So that would be very strange.
Yeah, I think the same. I mean, ever since I've been watching the U.S., it's been Nike. It just feels like it's part of U.S. soccer.
Right.
For it to switch would be something.
It would be interesting.
And then you just went to the January prep camp. Is that right?
Yes, I was there. Well, yeah, the January prep camp was actually last year. That was for getting ready for the World Cup qualifiers. But this year was good because I got to make my first 2 caps. So that was really special. It's down in California. My parents were there, who always supported me through everything, always traveling to my games. And yeah, just, wearing the crest, wearing the U.S. across my chest. It's a feeling that's hard to describe, but so much hard work. Like Cody said, it's a moment you dream of, as a young kid playing soccer. You always want to get to that highest level that you can. So to step out there and represent the U.S. was an amazing feeling, and want to represent the team more for sure.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Congrats. I mean, that's peak career stuff, right? Representing the national team.
Yeah, definitely something as a young kid that I'm sure not only DeJuan and myself aspired to accomplish, but, thousands and, I mean, arguably millions of children across the United States or across the world aspire to do for their respective countries. So obviously, huge congratulations are in order to you, DeJuan, for doing that in January. And obviously, I can only imagine how proud your parents were. It's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, get that kit on the wall, commemorate that one big time. I like it.
For sure.
Accolades rolling in. Obviously, Revs, you guys having a fantastic season, but you were in the Audi team of the match day last season. I was joking with you guys before the pod. I just assume Audi's sorting cars out for all you guys. You get car service for a week or something? I mean, what's Audi doing?
I'm still rocking my Ford Fusion right now. So it's been holding me down. Nothing from Audi yet, but maybe one day.
I'm sure the voucher's in the mail.
Maybe, it got lost. It got lost along the way.
Oh, love to see it. Yeah, Cody and I are looking at these team of the match days. I don't know if it was Zarek or whoever it was, but we're just talking about if you don't score, you're not getting in, right? And it's essentially there's only 3 players who didn't score, and 2 of them are defenders, obviously, and they just kind of toss a midfielder in who didn't score. But it seems to be the surest way in right now.
Yeah, definitely a good way in, getting that goal.
Oh man, the PR stuff. Well, hey, gentlemen, it is the 12th week of the MLS season has wrapped up just yesterday. Most of the games on Saturday, but we did have the one Sunday game, of course. So we'll be ripping through a few of them. I always kick it off, not just because DeJuan's here, with a little bit of conference standings, and the Revs are in first place in the East on 24 points, neck and neck with FC Cincinnati on 24 points as well. Nashville are third and Atlanta fourth, kind of rounds out the top there. The bottom trio, Chicago, New York, Toronto. On the West, Seattle first on 23 points, LAFC second on 21 points, and St. Louis City SC slipping a little bit from their amazing run at the beginning on 19 points. Dallas, FC Dallas in fourth on 18th, and the bottom 3 are Austin, LA Galaxy, and SKC, Kansas City. Still some teams on single digit points total so far this season, which is a little tough, Cody.
It is. Yeah. That said, SKC is one of those teams on single digit points. However, they are starting to find what I think might be a little bit of a rhythm.
Back-to-back wins?
With back-to-back wins. Yeah. 1 home and 1 away. So, hey, good for them.
Awesome. How has this season been, DeJuan, from your perspective? Just, overall in general, I think a lot of people are really surprised that Toronto are in the position they are, a little bit with Austin FC as well. But every time I talk to more MLS players, they're like, this is the league. Everybody can be anybody. It's just wait until the later of the season. Someone's going to catch fire out of nowhere and they're going to be up in the playoffs.
Definitely. For the Revs, I mean, it's been a great start to the season, but we know it's a long season. So we got to continue to keep the pressure on, stay amongst the top teams. Because, like you said, towards the end of the season, if you just don't go on a winning streak, pretty much anyone can make the playoffs. But that's what's so exciting about this league. You never know game in, game out, who's gonna show up, who's not gonna show up. And in each game, it's really hard to predict. So and that's one of the beauties of this league.
Beauty is an absolute chaos, as I like to observe it as. But hey, gentlemen, let's kick it off with the early game of the weekend. It was Chicago 1, St. Louis City 0. Red card to Nelson, unfortunately, really kind of made it an impossible one. Chicago got their second, but was called offsides, rightly so. Chicago, was this the new manager bounce, Cody? Is that in full effect here?
Yeah, it could be. That said, the two teams played each other in the Open Cup on Tuesday and then played each other again on Saturday. So I think it could have been a little back and forth. I think St. Louis beat them midweek in the Open Cup, and then Chicago
7
bounces
changes
back
at the weekend for St. Louis.
Exactly, 7 changes. So, I don't know whether or not that plays a part, but it was an extremely entertaining game that was full of opportunities for both teams. I mean, can't really say that one team was better than the other. Chicago started each half on the front foot, but was denied early goals by not only Roman Berkey, but the crossbar in the second half too. So
some changes with the coaching staff. Also the roster, DeJuan, it looks like they're putting in the youngster goalkeeper back in for Chicago. I guess you probably haven't been through a managerial change at New England, have you? Has Bruce been there the whole time?
Brad Friedel.
Okay, you did start with Brad. So you kind of know what a managerial change is like. What do you think it's like going through Chicago right now? They've got their assistant that's promoted to the head coach, got a little probably changed up some players, a couple players in the lineup and back at it.
Yeah, I would just say that it seems like in this league, especially whenever a team loses a coach, the next few games they're on the front foot. They're playing better soccer and they're getting results. So I think the manager bump is definitely in effect in Chicago, and I was actually able to watch some of that game, and they were generating a ton of chances. They were playing a strong game, moving the ball nice, and Shaqiri also was playing really well. So I think if they can get him firing, and Kai Kamara continuing to be a problem up top, I think they have some real potential.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, Shaqiri plays an important role in their setup and in their team. We discussed this last week with Teal, how their 3 DPs actually have not scored or assisted all season. So if they can get those guys rolling, I think that you will start to see Chicago pick up some results here, pick up some results there. And as you said, having Kai firing on all cylinders, I think he's sitting on just over 140 goals, which is second in MLS history right now, behind Wando. Would be obviously massive for them if they can get Kai firing. And I believe you played with Kai in 20. No, you never played with Kai.
I just missed him.
Okay. You just missed him. Okay. Yeah. I mean, incredible goal scorer. But like I said, if they can get those guys, their DPs and Kai firing on all cylinders, I think that they'll be in a very good position.
Yeah, interesting point, without a doubt. I would shout out that St. Louis City had multiple teenagers playing in this one. They even had Caden Glover, one of their academy players, 16 years old, got in at the end. My word, good for him.
Amazing.
Yeah, honestly. And that just goes back to St. Louis City, taking a different approach at times. Anytime you can get some minutes for those players, but they rotated heavy on this one. Gotta love an inaugural team immediately being shoved into rivalry week, right, DeJuan? It's like, hey, first time you guys have ever played, but guess what? It's a rivalry matchup. It's like, oh man, I guess like geographically it is.
Yeah. I think rivalry week, it's just an exciting thing for MLS. Obviously there are certain rivalries that I think are more natural rivals, with like the New York teams, they're Seattle and Portland. But yeah, I think it's exciting and just something to talk about, yeah, it keeps the league exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. Obviously, Brandon, as you said, a lot of rivalries, I think, are based on geographic location. However, it does make sense when you look at it in terms of, um, you know, the history of derbies or the history of rivalries. I guess for the sake of MLS's growth, these games gaining traction as rivalries and creating that hostile environment between the two fan bases is going to be good for the growth of soccer in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely the hope. You'll have to see, the different things that they can do to drive it. I wonder if these were also free on Apple TV for the weekend. But do you guys have any idea why Chicago St. Louis kicked off so early compared to everything else?
No idea. It actually, I went on the app 1:00 my time, which is Pacific time, and I was floored that a game was over, and I was thinking to myself, "Wait, what did a game is over?
Yeah.
What time did this game kick off?" Because the rest of them were on 4:30, 5:30, 6:30.
Yes. Yeah, it was a big
So,
break.
Yeah, it was.
DeJuan, do you think it matters to you as a player if you get a random early kickoff versus with Apple? We've talked about this with other players. Like they, for better or for worse, we're still figuring it out. They condense all the games to essentially like 3 different time slots, and so at least there's a little bit of consistency for you as players. But if you've got like a 1:00 kickoff, I mean that's very different from a 5:30 kickoff.
For sure. I do think the later kickoff's better for the players. Just get that full day of preparation, resting, and all focus on the match. I think just having the early kickoff just kind of throws you for a loop a little bit, just because you're not used to it. A lot of players have their routines, but I think the early kickoff is just kind of one that's rare in this league. So it's definitely different to get your body going at a different time. But yeah, I mean, as a fan, I think it's nice to have the early game just so you can put all your attention into one game. Because with all the games at one time, you're flipping between games. You can watch MLS 360, but if you're really trying to watch the games, it's kind of tough to see all of them if they're on at the same time.
Yeah, I tried watching MLS 360 again, and it's not there. They're working on it, but it's not like Red Zone. It's not that level yet. And what I was thinking, I was like, oh, play off the Premier League, right? La Liga's playing. You can just go from like the 11 a.m. kickoff for Premier League. People are still at the pub or whatever watching and just flip right to MLS. To me, that makes sense because you can just retain that audience, hopefully. But I still don't know if bar owners have figured out Apple TV. I should do a little bit of homework on that because I know the bar owners are struggling with YouTube TV for NFL this upcoming season. They don't know how they're going to get it on all the different TVs. So it's just little stuff like that we don't think about, right? When like a streamer comes in to cover the league. But DeJuan, you look good in 1080p, man. Don't even worry about it. That ESPN, that 480p is gone.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You guys are like blurs last year. I was trying to watch everybody. Oh man. Hey, second game up, right? Atlanta 1, Charlotte 3. Interesting matchup. This one, obviously Atlanta losing at home to Charlotte. Justin Merrim with the double, the former Atlanta player refusing to celebrate either goal, and Swiderski on the penalty. Gutman getting the red card in the 51st minute, and then Purata getting the late goal. Just give a little bit of hope. They pretty much ran the same set piece back to back, and it worked on the second one. But Cody, from your perspective, I didn't do my homework. I apologize. But Brad Guzan not in for this one.
No.
It was Westberg getting some time in for him. That was kind of the one difference I saw. Almada from his hot start, I don't want to say cool down, but look, he was on fire to start. So
at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So Brad is injured. He has been injured 3 to 4 weeks, I think. Yeah. And Westberg and Diop have been the 1 and the 2. I think Diop stepped in when Westberg picked up a little injury. That said, I mean, Atlanta aren't as hot as they were at the start of the season. Recent form would say that they have, kind of been struggling. They have one win in their previous 7 games. I don't know if you guys have played them, DeJuan, in their last 7. No, have you guys played
them?
Not
yet. We played them May 31st.
May 31st. Wow, he even knows the date. Fantastic. What a pro. Yeah, they're one win, 2 draws, and 4 losses in their last 7 games. So that's obviously a tough run of form. Obviously an opportunity for you guys going in there at the end of the month.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I saw the result, especially considering Atlanta was at home. But yeah, credit to Charlotte. I think when they're playing, they're a really good team. Justin Merriam just got traded there. I trained with him in the offseason, so happy for him. See him get 2 goals, at his old stomping grounds. But yeah, that's just this league. Home away doesn't really matter. You never know on any given day what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Justin Merriam, obviously, as a fullback, he scores his first goal on the back post. In that scenario, it looks like he is wide open, right? As a fullback, what are you told to do in that scenario when you have essentially you're responsible for 2 guys almost? What are you told as a defender in that situation?
Well, I think the important thing is to make sure you see. So check your shoulder. I'm not sure if the defender sees that there's a guy on his back post. Also, if you see you're outnumbered, communicate. So talk to your center back, tell him that you have 2, tell him the situation as quickly as possible. Because again, it happens so quick. But if it's a situation where it's pretty much just me against 2, I think I would try to half it as much as I can and just try to read the flight of the ball. I think if you get too sucked in the first guy, you're leaving the guy wide open on the back, and that's dangerous. So I would try to play it more in the middle and kind of react to the ball.
Okay. Yeah.
It just glanced. I mean, that was tough too, right? Like just kind of dropped him in Merriam. Like credit, 1 touch finish on his left.
Yeah.
Great finish.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot to be done. So I think if people are a little tough on Lennon, the one I was interested in was Gutman's, his red card, right? He just got on the wrong side of the attacker, ended up getting a handful of his jersey. And it's just like, man, you feel bad because it was such a good run from Swiderski to get in that position in the first place. But it's like, I'm sure if you've seen that back, you're like, well, I've seen that happen before, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at that play and I couldn't tell on first glance if I thought it was a red card or not. But if you look at it on the replay, he's got the full jersey. He's pulling him back. Because now I'm thinking if he misses the ball completely, then it's definitely a red and definitely a penalty. He did get a shot off still, but the contact, he made it more difficult, which, right in front of the goal, I think that's a red card.
Yeah, I would agree. As you, DeJuan, I thought the same thing in terms of at first glance. I was like, what's being reviewed here? Like you can't even see anything. And then they show it from behind behind the 2 players. And you're like, wow, he's got the entire jersey. It's like ripping it off his shoulder almost. It was super interesting because you don't see that at first glance, but definitely one that I think deserves a red card after review. And I think the referee handled it appropriately, which is, not something I can say for a lot of VAR decisions that I've seen or been involved in. So
I tell you what, the one thing I would like to sign a position for is for commentators to stop saying dogzo, as if anyone out there knows what that is, nor does it sound cool. They're like, clear dogzo, you know what I'm saying? It's just and I'm like, you guys got to stop saying dogzo. Like, I get it, but no one possibly else can on this broadcast.
What does dogzo mean?
Yeah, which it's denying of goal scoring opportunity, but I'm just like, guys, that's not the one that you want to rattle off all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I will also say, Maurice Edu threw out an interesting stat during the broadcast. Charlotte has the highest expected goals against in the league.
Whoa.
He said that, I think, at the start of the second half. And I found that very interesting because I would not have thought that they were the team in the league to have the highest expected goals against. I would have said it was a team more towards the bottom of the league, but Charlotte has obviously mitigated, done a good job at mitigating those opportunities. I don't know. I just found that interesting and maybe a stat that I would bring up. But
so I pulled it up for you. It's them and Real Salt Lake. Charlotte have an XGA of 18.5, and they've conceded 22. So they've actually underperformed their XGA, which is not good. Real Salt Lake are 18.3 neck and neck. They've conceded 20, but that is the wrong part of the table. They are conceding. I mean, I could get into this and we don't really need to, but I'm sure they're giving up tons of shots and things like that are obviously leading to those situations. But well, good job, Maurice, or your producer, whoever's feeding him the stats. But yeah, Charlotte are on the wrong end of that table
for sure.
All right. I think I covered most of that because I was actually trying to look at Atlanta United's XG because I was like, they're in a bit of a flip form. Maybe they're just on the wrong side of they're not creating. No, they've actually had 1.4, 1.2, 1.0 XG in their last 3 games. Before that, they've all been like under 1. So they were just really, really overperforming on XG in the beginning of the season. And now they're just wildly underperforming. Like they should be scoring in these games and they're not. But you would say they conceded 3 against Nashville, 2 against Inter Miami, and 3 against Charlotte. You can't give up that many goals, DeJuan. Of course, that's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's only so much the defense can do. If you're giving up that many goals, it's going to be hard to win games. And I think that's why every team's focus should be defense first. If the defense is solid, then all you'll need is 1 goal to win. But if you're conceding, 2 goals a game, you're putting your offense in a tough predicament.
Yeah, and they were defender mentality that is, by the way. I love it. I love it. Hey, don't concede, you can't lose.
Exactly.
Well, that was the line we were talking about with Nashville earlier in the season, right? They're doing pretty well as far as not conceding this season. So, man, they still have only conceded 7 goals in 12 games. Wow. That's tough. LAFC with 8. Man, good for them. All right. Well, quick pause. Cody, you have a little bit of a giveaway, yes, mini celebrity, don't you?
Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't call me a celebrity. First of all, DeJuan is the celebrity on the podcast today. Okay. So this guy is current MLS, big name, obviously just out of team of the match day. So DeJuan, the celebrity on today's podcast. But yes, I do have a giveaway brought to you by Motivate. This giveaway includes quite a few products. Actually, it's a sampler giveaway.
Everyone loves a bundle.
Yeah, why not? Right. So you get a little bit. You get a burn sampler pack, a greens sampler pack, a no stim burn sampler pack, and a temperature controlled shaker. You can enter the giveaway by liking my post or by following me and following Motivate. And I actually have one of the products that I most like, their Rivalry. So if you haven't tried this, definitely go and try it out. As a professional athlete, it helps me post difficult training sessions and post games get back on the right foot.
DeJuan, have you ever seen a goalkeeper need recovery formula after training?
I think the goalies, I think they're field players now, so they do everything that we do.
I love it. I love it. He's giving you an olive branch. Check it out.
He is. Thank you, sir. What a kind gesture from DeJuan. Thank you.
Yeah, he's part of the back line. I bet you were going to give him donuts for the shutout, so he knows the game. But follow Cody and Motivate as well. Links in the description below. Check it out. Great products, clean products. Again, professional athletes approved. You'll enjoy it. Moving on to the third one, another rivalry matchup, Montreal versus Toronto. Bono having big words about the only Canadian derby that really matters, and it was this one. Montreal hosting Toronto 2-0 to the CF Montreal. I don't know. They don't have a mascot. I totally tripped myself up on that one. So Lapalainen and Ofor getting the goals. And the only thing on Toronto's stat line, unfortunately, is Marshall Ruddy getting sent off. So really not that big of a deal, DeJuan. I just don't like Montreal's gray kits. It's just not my favorite from MLS this season.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
It's like the
I think
marble.
they're all right. I think
Yeah,
they're all right. They're all right. I think there's some more skits this year for sure. I don't want to get into that too much. But,
we did. Don't worry. Hey, go back if you're interested. We already did that. We rated all the kits. We got in on that.
We did.
Yeah, but Montreal, they've done a really good job. They've turned it around this season. And yeah, it's unfortunately for TFC that they're on this hot streak right now. But yeah, that's just how it is. And yeah, Montreal, well done. TFC got a lot of problems, got a lot of things to get right, but also a lot of injuries, which makes it really tough and difficult. So they're in a tough moment, but with the quality, I'm sure they'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah, I would agree on both fronts. Obviously, Montreal has 100% turned what looked like it was going to be a very long season around. Statistically, they actually have 6 wins in their previous 6 games, and they have back-to-back wins over Toronto. They played Toronto midweek in the Can Champ, beat them, and then beat them on the Saturday as well. So, obviously a very happy front office for Montreal, a very happy player pool, and I'm sure a very happy fan base, because that is one of the bigger derbies, as Alex Bono stated, in Canada.
Holy shit, they are. They're 6 in a row. I had no idea.
6 in a row. Yeah.
Wow. They just snuck
and then
up.
I guess the touch.
They love it 2-0, by the way. 2-0 Toronto, 2-0 Orlando, 2-0 KC, 2-0 New York. Also that they've also 2-0 to everybody along the way.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
DeJuan, to touch on what you said about Toronto, I think you're absolutely right. They're bottom of the East. They are 2-4-6 on the season. And that's it's not a great place to be when you have the players that they do and the resources that I can only assume are available to a club that has historically been one of the better teams, not only in the East, but in the league. We asked Teal about this last week, and I'm going to ask you, do you think Bob is under pressure with the money he's gone out and spent, the team that he's been able to put together, and obviously their struggles so far in the first 12 games?
I think so. In this league, it seems like every year at least 5 to 6 coaches get fired. And there's been some big coaches that have gotten fired as well, legendary coaches. So I think, when you're not getting the results, you're losing to one of your rivals twice in 1 week. Injuries, there's always, it seems like it's always like a terrible storm when the coach gets fired, and
for sure
that's what they're in right now. So again, we'll see how much trust and faith they have in him. I think the results have to start turning around quickly, because in this league, it's pretty ruthless.
I think that was my question, Dawn. It's like, what do you think a team can do to really turn around this tough streak? Even if there's injuries or something, do you have to adjust the tactics and maybe just tighten it up a little bit, try something different? Because, you look at the front line, right? They've got star power in the front line, but that's not the issue. It's defensively. Well, I guess, kind of a little bit everything, but I was thinking about that because I was just like, the players' heads are down. They know they're in a bad spot. Sean Johnson's upset. Things are not going his way. The forward line probably aren't getting the service they want. And it's just like, it's got to be tough just to try to you almost have to work 2-3 times harder just to try to stop the slide.
Yeah. Maybe just it's team chemistry. Maybe they need to do something off the field and just
laser
enjoy
tag.
each other's company, laser tag would be great, go karting, whatever, just go do a team event where you can forget about soccer, just have fun. Because that's what it's really about. And yeah, just making it so the guys really want to play for each other when they're out there on the field. Because like you said, if heads are going down, guys are turning on each other on the field, it's going to be tough. And then you get into that cycle where they score the first goal on you and the team has no more belief that, that you can make the comeback. So I think really just getting back to team chemistry and, playing hard for each other.
Cody, I hear team chemistry at a night out, and our team bonding. I just think in the UK, man, those boys would be just going out for a boozer, absolutely getting toasted together. Like, I just think
without
the 90s and the 2000s, like British teams, right? Just out and pissed.
Oh, out at a
Solves
pub
everything.
midday. Yeah. Zero cares in the world and 12 beers deep. Absolutely.
Less social media back then, you know, a little
Yes.
bit different with Roy Keane at the helm.
Mhm.
Hey, it kicked off. It dusted off at the end here.
It
Tempers
did, yeah.
boiled over. Allegedly, someone swung. I'm not going to say anything, but yeah, it got really testy there at the end. Frustration boiled over.
It did, yeah. I didn't really read too much into that or pay attention to it too much. However, like you said, I heard that there were punches thrown. Were there any red cards?
Just the one
issued?
in game.
In game. Okay, interesting. Usually, if there are punches thrown or there's a dust up at the end of a game, as I'm sure DeJuan might, have maybe been involved in, not personally, but like on a team that has been involved in them, usually red cards or yellow cards are issued.
Yeah, it looked like, from what I saw, just a lot of pushing. I don't think I saw any punches thrown, but it looked like it definitely could have got out of control, especially considering I think it was the Canadian Championship game where the fans like got in a fight as well. So I think it had been brewing for sure. And obviously this is their biggest rival. So yeah, you lose to a team twice in a week, you're not going to be happy. And maybe Montreal was letting them know, like, hey, you guys suck. We're better than you. And, temper swear. So it's a little bit expected. So, hopefully they don't dish out too many red cards, too many punishments. But yeah, I like to see, TFC recover because they're, like I said, they're a big team in this league, and they should be doing better than this.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that you maybe touched on it a little bit there. It could also be some frustrations from TFC having lost 2 on the bounce to what is arguably their biggest rival, and just tempers flaring over and frustration boiling over. It could have just been something as simple as that occurring, and maybe one of the Montreal players getting a little smart after winning back-to-back games and saying something that just pissed the wrong person off, right? So
exactly.
In the heat of the moment, it's never easy to control that. However, as a professional, you have to be able to control your temper and your reactions in those moments, because you're not only, in my opinion, you're not only putting yourself in a bad situation, but you're putting your team in a bad situation. And as a professional athlete, you are setting a bad example for young professionals or young athletes.
That is the hard part. I mean, you guys see it. Oh, I just went to Twitter, and you're right. This is there was a fight there in midweek between the fans, and it is not good. Like, not to stereotype, but that to me is like NFL stuff that you see. And then you go through this, and then you see hockey fights and everything. So I'm not saying it's a Canadian thing. It just seems to be happening a lot between these two teams, which just shows you these cities are super rivals. And I'm sure Toronto understands exactly kind of like the what it means to like lose those things. So tough run for them in Toronto. So we'll have to see Bob hit up the laser tag arena, drive some go-karts, figure something out. But it's just tough to see, right? You want to see, I don't know, like, hey, you got to earn it, right? Like, no one says like Toronto, you sign big players, you get it, but you would like to see the better players in the league perform. And it is not top to bottom. So anyways, we'll kick it off or wrap up here with Kansas City 3, Minnesota 0. Minnesota on a slide. Unfortunately, my in-market team here in finally sunny Minnesota. It's about damn time. So I'm pulling up Minnesota's run here just to kind of see where they're at. Lost to KC, lost to Vancouver, drew to Dallas, lost to Seattle, lost to Orlando, lost to Chicago. And that was after being they're the last team without a loss, which was also back in March. Tough. We're now mid-May.
That's tough. Yeah.
Adrian Heath and the squad going for a big slide. Port Dane St. Clair, my former apartment neighbor. Cody, what the hell, man?
What do you mean, what the hell, man? I don't know.
You talk to Zarek? Don't you talk to Z, man?
I do. I talk to Z and Will all the time. Hey, look, this Minnesota team looked exhausted. They went 120 minutes with Philadelphia midweek in the Open Cup, ended up winning that game on penalties. However, I think you could kind of see the heavy legs late in the game versus SKC. Even early on in the game, I think you could see that they were tired. They had obviously made 3 or 4 changes throughout the lineup, and ultimately, I think it was just a test of time. SKC coming in hot off of beating Seattle away, and starting to find a rhythm.
Well, I tell you what, DeJuan, missing a penalty for Minnesota, it definitely can't hurt. You're already down 1-0 at the 9th minute. Rosero, Soloy, and kinda getting the 3 goals, and Minnesota's new attacking transfer in, Songbin Jong, missing the penalty. And like you said, I think all the heads just dropped. Tim Melia getting away with one there in the box. Not a Dogzo, not a Dogzo on that one. So he plays on, but he actually got subbed off too. So KC, a little bit of life. This is what we're kind of talking about Toronto. Rough last season for KC. Rough beginning of the season, but now starting to build it step by step, game by game. And Peter Vermees is put a little breath in the team, a little breath of life.
Yeah, I think it's so much about momentum, and they're in a good moment right now. So, you hope they can continue. I got to give a shout out to my boy, Jake Davis. He's a center mid, but he's stepping in at right back. And I saw him play against Seattle and he killed it. And I think he started again, shut out, killed it again. So
there you go.
Super proud of him, and yeah, way to step up.
There you go. Jake Davis. Love it. I did not know that. 1, he was your boy, and 2, is he a rookie this year?
He's a homegrown. I think he had been on the team maybe 2 or 3 years, but another guy training with in the off season.
Fantastic. No, that's great.
Young 21-year-old.
Obviously, yeah, SKC is having to lean a lot on younger talent right now with the injuries that they've had. Obviously, the last couple of weeks they've been able to get their DPs back. We discussed this last week with Teal. Versus Seattle, it was actually the first time that all 3 designated players for SKC had been on the field at the same time this season.
Wow, you love a DP stat.
I love a DP stat because they're so important to each team. Obviously, like if the signing is right,
that's what we're talking about.
If the signing is right, they are important. You look at New England. Look at the importance of Carles Gil to New England and everything that you guys do. Look at Nashville. Look at the importance of Hani Mukhtar and everything that they do. If the signings are right and they're fit, they are a very important player in what a team is able to accomplish. So I do love a DP stat. Yes. Thank you very much.
You want to play out that one, DeJuan, a little bit?
Maybe touch on the importance of Carles. I don't know.
I say, yeah, because Carles was out for a little bit early in the season, wasn't he?
And a lot last year, no?
Man, he missed a little bit this year. But yeah, no, he's so important, each day in training, he's giving 100% effort and really leads by example on the field. He's fit. He can run for 90 minutes. He's defending. He's attacking. He can sprint all day. Like everyone's tired. He's just taking 3 guys on. And you're like, where does this guy get the energy?
Yeah.
He's been a great captain for us. And yeah, he's been a great teammate to have. Like a brother to me, I would say. And yeah, I mean, the way he finds passes that no one else can see it's incredible. So, without him, I'm not sure where our team would be.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think it was the 2019 season with him. Is that the year we signed him? Or did we? Yeah, we did sign him in 2019 when we were in Spain, right?
Yeah, we're like, who's this guy?
This guy just showed up.
Love this guy.
Yeah, we were, I kid you not, honestly, the story, we're in Marbella, Spain for preseason, and like 4 or 5 days into the trip, this guy shows up. Nobody knows who he is. And he starts training with us, and we're like, okay, cool, man. Like, we signed a new, we were told that we had signed a new DP, but nobody knew his name or knew who he was. And this guy just showed up and lit training on fire. This guy was unbelievable.
Was there no formal introduction like, hey, this is Carles. He's our new big signing. Like, don't kick him.
Well, no, I mean, we got the introduction and everything, but like we didn't know who he was or anything at that point. And so then like we get to know him and he's a great guy off the field. He, like DeJuan said, he leads by example and really impacted. He really helped turn the organization of New England around because his involvement in what New England has been able to accomplish over the last 3 to 4 seasons has been arguably on his shoulders, and he has helped carry that forward.
Well,
yeah, that's well said. That's well said. I mean, I can't speak to too much before 2019 before I got there, but like I said, he's been the leader ever since he got here, and yeah, what he does on the field, off the field as well this year and last year, he's been more of a vocal leader as well. So just to see, also his improvements over the years, it's been amazing.
How's his English now? I haven't spoken to him in a while.
It's really good. He thinks it's not good, but it's good. Like,
it's good.
He can speak in English and everyone understands everything he's saying. He can understand pretty well too. But he obviously likes to use Spanish more. When he really has to say something, he'll use Spanish to make sure he gets his point fully across. But I think his English is amazing.
Yeah. Well, if you can remember when he first signed, like he didn't speak any English. So
no.
We had at the time, I think we had 2 coaches on staff that spoke Spanish, and then we had a couple, like Andrew Farrell speaks Spanish fluently, and he would translate for, was it Pania, Caicedo, and Carles, right? All 4 of them were like in one little corner, and they would all communicate, and then Farrell would translate everything to and Jaleel as well.
Jaleel and Diego.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Diego was there too. Yeah, so we had 3 like translators for a couple of these guys, and it was as tedious as it was at times. It was obviously super beneficial because Carles ended up becoming the captain, I think, by the end of his first season, and has been ever since. So it's great to hear that he has continued that evolution of learning English.
So you got Carles and his, I'm assuming, brother Nacho. Brothers? All right.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're both from Valencia. Same last name. That's a bummer. But if I can ask a couple of questions about your roster, is that okay?
Yeah.
You guys lost Matty Turner, and up steps Petrovic. Like, 1 in, 1 out. You guys are a freaking like factory line of goalkeepers in New England. What the heck?
Yeah. I think Kevin Hitchcock, our goalkeeper coach, obviously does a really great job. He's got a lot of experience coaching over in Europe, playing in Europe. But yeah, these guys are insane. The saves they make, it's like a guaranteed goal sometimes, and they just pull a save out of nowhere. But yeah, speaking about George, I think he's also done a really good job. His English has gotten so much better this year. He really does a good job communicating even more now, being more confident, in the back line. He's always talking, when I'm the farthest guy back, he's communicating to me, which he didn't do as much last year. So, a lot of improvements in his game as well. He's obviously linked to some really big clubs. So, we've been really thankful and grateful for everything he's done for this club, and, look forward to, seeing where he goes. But, we have him for now, so we want to keep him as long as we can.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. I mean, Cody, we've talked about Petrovic a couple times, obviously this season. There's been a few young goalkeepers. Well, I guess Matt Turner's not really that young, but, Gaga left as well, went to the Premier League. The Premier League is Americans have always had a strong lineage of goalkeepers. And we were talking like throwback, not just Friedel, right, and Casey Keller, but like Hahnemann was in the Premier League for a long time. By the way, I saw Zach Thornton. What a throwback. He's on Chicago Fire staff. I remember watching Thornton back in the day play for the Fire. Holy shit. What a unit that guy is.
Yeah.
But anyways, Americans love some goalkeepers, but now it's not an American goalkeeper. It's America's finding a really, really good goalkeeper to bring into the league. And he's 23 right now.
Yeah. Obviously, Hitchy did his homework. I would assume he was Hitchy signing. And, when they replaced Matt Turner, there were probably a lot of question marks. Would they be able to replace Matt Turner? However, I think that they did. I think statistically speaking, actually, Jordy, how do you say it? Correct. George is better statistically than Matt was. And that says a lot because Matt was very good in his during his stint in MLS. And you have to think that he will eventually leave New England. And I had to see when he goes, where he goes, because I think it's going to be a very big club. And I think he's going to do extremely well in his future.
For sure. I would just say, like, he's also the ultimate professional. Every day I see him in the gym, looking at his phone, doing workouts, like his own workouts. I'm like, I don't know who's sending him this stuff, but yeah, he's got a great work ethic. Takes care of himself. Always eats really well. So yeah, he's a great guy.
Ultimate professional, like DeJuan Jones.
Appreciate that, Cody.
So you guys are having a great season. And I'm so glad we got a defender on because, we've had some attackers and goalkeepers and, just different players. But like, I kind of look at your guys' results this season, and while you guys have had a good season, there's a couple wobbles, but what do you feel like your favorite game has been so far this season?
A great question. Wow.
As I just glance the score, it's like, I'm like thinking, is he going to go for a shutout? Is he going to be maybe his team of the match day performance where he gets a goal? Maybe he just was having fun chilling while the team ran rampant against Montreal for 4-0, right? Like there's a few.
He's looking at the schedule.
There. Yeah.
I'm looking at the schedule. Yeah. I think I would have to say the DC United game, just because that game, like the result, I think no Buck scored in the 90th, 89th minute. We went 2-1, I believe. That was just a game where it felt like the supporter shield season 2021. Just like we're just fighting to the last minute, get a goal, steal 3 points away. Like, man, that was an exhilarating game. Tough game, difficult. We made goal saving plays, right at the end. So kind of had everything, and we came away with 3 points. So I would say that was my favorite game this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
very dramatic defensive performance. Yeah. I'll tell you what, DC has been involved in a lot of dramatic games, like win or lose. They've been on both sides of like dramatic finishes, right? So no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And as a goalkeeper who's been in games like that, I can definitely say those are, you walk off the field feeling like those are the moments you live for, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this and like all the stoppage time minutes, there's like 6 different actions and you only played 3 minutes of stoppage time. Like, and it was all DC attempt save, attempt missed, like attempt blocks. So yeah, you guys are throwing it on the line to close that one out. So I absolutely love it. Well, DeJuan, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute blast to cover game week 12 with you in the MLS. Hope you continue to have a great season. I'm still rocking the old school New England Revolution windbreaker here from Cody. Yeah. We're keeping that hype train alive.
I think we need maybe get a DeJuan Jones jersey up there.
I keep them separate. Maybe. Keep Cincy and New England on the outsides.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Cody, for having me on. It's been an honor, and yeah, it's been really fun.
Hey, we'll have a great rest of the season. We'll probably circle back to you later in. I'm excited to see what this Leagues Cup and everything is. So if nothing else, we might just text you to see how that all is going. It's going to be a weird season, but stay healthy. Have a blast. Links to DeJuan in the description as always. Cody, appreciate you bringing Motivate in as well. Good little giveaway. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, me too. I love the products, and I'm excited for whoever is picked as the winner. Actually, I'm going to have Brandon pick the winner. So anybody who's out there, Brandon is going to pick the winner. I don't want to be responsible for that.
My Venmo will be in the description below. I'll be a neutral third party. Don't you worry about it. But anyways, if you would just take a quick second, check us out on social media, but also leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Helps other MLS fans such as yourself that are listening to us find other ones. But anyways, we appreciate it. Have a great week. We'll be back with MLS Game Week 13.